So Apple, what are you actually cooking over there?
Nothing. I'm just working on some designs for watches and headphones and that kind of thing.
Yeah, let me see. I want to take a look.
Well, yeah, here. That's it.
Ew, that's disgusting. Why would people want a stem coming out of their ear? That's just ridiculous. I can't believe you would actually ship something that stupid.
Well, it's handy. It lets you, have something to pull on if you need to take them out, and it kind of guides the pods into their charge case and stuff.
Dumb, and by the way, why the heck are your watches square? People want a round watch.
Well, you could always put, a kind of a circular watch face on a square display, but you can't turn a round display into a square.
Dumb. I don't understand any of this crap.
You really need to rethink who's the most innovative brand in this space, okay?
Okay, sorry.
Now, just look at some of my ideas.
What?
What's the...
Now, I know it's kind of a meme as old as time that Samsung liked to take inspiration from Apple, but if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I'm genuinely not against copying. Steve Jobs was famous for actually stealing other people's quotes about how good artists copy, great artists steal. And in the tech space, I think good ideas can only be ignored for so long, and the EU definitely is kind of knocking down barriers left and right these days, saying, okay, if you come up with a really good feature, you need to make sure that's available for everybody, not just your own ecosystem, because sometimes things are just too convenient and too smart to assume that everybody should just assume that that company is the only company that can utilize that feature or that perk. Same thing happens with iOS and Android every year. It feels like iOS gets a bunch of Android features, and then typically Android gets a bunch of iOS features. They're all just kind of blurring together more and more, but after today's announcements from the Galaxy Unpacked event, oh my gosh, I feel like this is somewhat of a new low for Samsung. I mean, I'll admit, as far as the Galaxy Buds are concerned, it's not that the product or the design itself is really that bad. Like, the prices seem reasonable, and personally, like I've said, I like having a stem on my headphones to give me something to grab onto. And also, they kind of made it their own a little bit by putting little color strips on the tips of the headphones instead of having to look for the left and the right. You can just kind of remember the blue and the red or orange, and that helps you remember where they go in the charge case. At least the charge case was a little bit more unique, and the pricing of them is pretty much in line with AirPods. But I think the main reason people are upset is there's so many AirPods knockoffs already that you can find for like $20 on Amazon. So to just see Samsung, who used to be kind of known for the biggest competitor of Apple, and they're more innovative and they're more radical, to just kind of see them fall in line with the hundreds of other AirPods clones out there is just like a little bit of a defeatist moment for everybody. It's like, okay, crap, I guess there really is no better way to design these things. And it's very much ironic when in the past Samsung was known for kind of mocking and criticizing Apple for having certain design characteristics like a notch, only for them to turn around and have a notch themselves, or making fun of the AirPods stem sticking out of people's ears. These things were ridiculed to death when they came out. I was always a day one fan of AirPods, by the way, but now to just see even one of their biggest competitors fall in line and say, yeah, I guess this is the best way to design in-ear buds. Let's just have a few more color options to go around. Yeah, it kind of feels like a historic moment, and once again feels like Samsung's marketing team never communicates with the Samsung engineering team, because everything the marketing team does usually has to be deleted and erased a mere year after it was debuted. So you can tell why most of the time Samsung is always showing the Galaxy Buds from angles that show off, the little black strips or light bars that show that you're in different modes. I don't think most people are going to notice that kind of detail, but from certain angles, yes, the Galaxy Buds do look insanely similar to AirPods, and it's not even close, especially when you compare them to previous generation Galaxy Buds that tried to embrace kind of the bean nature of not having a stem, of like, look how more natural and how much more integrated we can make our headphones, but they probably realized people don't like digging the headphones out of their ear, and having a stem to kind of be your controller is handy. I think it's probably a better product than the outgoing model, but it is just kind of ironic and funny. Where the weird part comes in, though, definitely stems down to the Galaxy Watch Watch Ultra. Now, at first glance, I think everybody just goes, okay, yeah, they copied the watch band design. Looks kind of like orange pasta going around your wrist, whatever. But that's actually not the worst part of this at all. I doubt Apple was the original creator of the macaroni-looking watch band, but it more stems down to how they kind of made the Galaxy Watch Ultra itself objectively worse than previous generation Galaxy Watches in so many different ways. I mean, they clearly just wanted to emulate that, okay, Apple has had a lot of success with their $800 bigger watch with bigger battery life, so let's make a bigger watch as well. But the crazy thing to me is how they basically copied the overall shape of the Apple Watch Ultra. It's a big, thick squircle, but they didn't copy the display, I guess. Maybe we should be grateful of that. But in this particular situation, similar to the AirPods, I think Samsung probably would have been better off going away from the circular display design, even though everybody would be complaining, just like the Galaxy Buds, like, oh my god, you just copied the Apple Watch Ultra. But they kind of copied it in a bad way, in my opinion. They kept the circular display, but just beef up the bezels on all four corners and simultaneously remove the rotating bezel, which I haven't reviewed a Galaxy Watch in a long time, but in the past, I always remember saying that was kind of their unique, iconic feature. At least the Galaxy Watch looked quite a bit different from the Apple Watch, which in many regards I think is a good thing. You know, options are nice. You don't want all companies making the exact same product and you just choose between different logos. And I thought it was cool that Apple kind of leaned into the square display design, whereas Samsung was leading into this rounded watch design. But to copy the chassis of a square watch and keep that circular display, but now ditch the rotating bezel. That's the weird thing about the Galaxy Watch Ultra, is despite having that round display, it kind of killed the iconic, recognizable part of Galaxy Watches having that bezel you could spin around for different menus and options. Now falling back to just having a standard digital crown, just like the Apple Watch, this is when I'm like, okay, again, copying in itself is not necessarily bad if you can improve upon it, if you can make it better in some way, which is how I kind of see the Galaxy Buds, is like, yes, they are very much replicas of AirPods, but at least they have more color choices, they have a few more design characteristics to help separate themselves from all the other AirPods knockoffs on the market. But with this, it's like, okay, you didn't improve on the Apple Watch Ultra, you just found a way to make it worse. You made the bezels even thicker, but you got rid of the functionality that you had of the bezels, which at least made them somewhat unique, although at the end of the day, I don't think turning your bezel into a functional feature is a good idea, because most people like having thinner bezels, so it makes bezels a lot harder to shrink if you want them to be rotatable. So I would have been okay with Samsung dropping the rotating bezel, but only if it resulted in the bezels getting overall thinner. But in the case of the Ultra, they made them thicker and just awkward, and of course added an extra button that can do more customizable things, just like the Apple Watch Ultra. So in general, it just makes it kind of hard to get excited for, even if the products themselves may be better than their outgoing models. It just very much makes Samsung look like more of an industry follower, not so much an industry leader anymore. And I get that we can brag about foldables all day, but the latest foldables they just announced are a classic example of how an innovative feature can only be that innovative for a year or two. Now that they're on the 6th generation of Z Fold and Z Flip, they're basically in the same trap that all smartphones are, which is every year they just have slight incremental upgrades, barely noticeable, slightly different chip, slightly new Galaxy AI features that most of us are never going to use. And even though the battery lives didn't change, the displays didn't really change all that much, the prices went up by $100 for both. So say goodbye to all of those people claiming that, oh, well, folding phones are just needing to get cheaper, and in a few years they'll get just as affordable as normal rectangle phones. Nope, now they're just getting more expensive too. So in my opinion, Samsung is still an incredible company. They're very innovative, but not in their consumer design. It's more in their manufacturing, which is still very much helpful and used in the electric vehicle battery industry. It's used in the display industry. It's used in the NAND manufacturing industry. There's so many things Samsung makes for Apple and many other companies, but their design elements are very much just like, okay, let's go with what everybody else is doing and just use the latest manufacturing techniques that our company has available to us. But what do you guys think? Is Samsung wrong for following Apple in the ways that we think Apple is better? Or would you rather Samsung continue to differentiate themselves, try to lean more into the Galaxy Beans design so that we have a bit more variety in the market to choose from? All your thoughts, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.